Geometry Dash, a staple of games most people first experienced on a long car journey when they were 8. Whether your friend recommended the game, you're returning after way too many years, or you're one of the new gen trend hoppers, it can be hard to know what step to take next, so you don't struggle and lose motivation. This is a guide from Stereo Madness all the way to your first couple of demons. I'll be adding some tips and tricks in when necessary. Now, of course, this is my experience of going through Geometry Dash, and I believe that, in my opinion, is one of the most efficient and best ways to learn the mechanics of the game, and work your way up to beating the harder levels. Now, for the first 5 levels, up to base after base, the main thing you want to learn is the mechanics of the game, and also the physics. How can you do this? Well, just basically play the game. You can use practice mode if you want, but it isn't really necessary, and you'll be fine without it. These first 5 levels are an absolute cakewalk, and you should be beating them in a couple hundred attempts. So you've beaten base after base, and landed on this wonderful level. This is, in my opinion, the worst RobTop level, and I will stand by that. I'm a can't let go hater since day 1. The difficulty spike from base after base is apparent, and many people end up quitting it. So what should you do? Skip it. Go straight to Jumper. When I first started the game, I gave up on can't let go until I was given the advice to skip it. So why do you skip it? Jumper is a wonderfully made masterpiece that enhances your upside down mechanic learning and ship control. Don't mind the glaze. Even though the ship section feels like this, it is still really good for practice, and also one of the best RobTop levels. Now after Jumper, I suggest you skip Time Machine and Cycles. Time Machine is a triple spike hell, which none of us want to get into, and Cycles can't even be beaten by Doggy.
Alright, first coin. Yeah, that coin's kinda impossible timing, what the fuck, bro?
So you have 2 main progression ways. If you have the full version of the game, I suggest you beat Blast Processing and then move on to X Step. However, if you're a Geometry Dash Lite player, don't worry, I was one of you. I feel the pain of trying to beat Club Step when an ad pops up every other attempt.
Nothing beats a Jet 2 holiday.
Anyways, as I was saying, if you're a Geometry Dash Lite player, I suggest you skip straight to X Step since you don't have access to Blast Processing. Now, you may look at the insane difficulty and get scared. However, X Step is one of the easiest insanes and is, in my opinion, easier than Cycles and Time Machine. After beating X Step, use all the skills you learned to finish up the levels you miss. Can't Let Go, Time Machine, and Cycles. If you feel need to use practice mode, go ahead. Now when returning to these easier levels, it is common for people to get tilted. Because of the mental challenge of not being able to beat an easy level. Now, the faster you learn to control these emotions, this anger, the faster you will progress. Instead of getting tilted, learn from your mistakes and improve for the future. After finishing up the levels you missed, I suggest to skip Clusterfunk and Theory of Everything and go straight to Electroman Adventures. Now where can I even start on Electroman Adventures? The music is amazing. I mean, once you hear these lyrics, you can never unhear them. Let me give you my heart. Let me. Now practice mode is essential for all the levels after this. You may have been able to do it without practice mode up till now, but it's only going to get more difficult. So you completed the best level ever, Electroman Adventures. Where do you go now? Simply go back to Clusterfunk and Theory of Everything and finish those up. Up till now, some of the levels have been hard, but for the most part they should be bearable. Now you will face off your first difficult challenge, Electrodynamics. Electrodynamic first introduced the speed portal. We can see this because the entirety of the level goes up in progressive speeds. Now although this is a tough challenge, I have another tip to make it more bearable. Introducing Practice Mode Checkpoint Part Practicing. I haven't quite thought of a good name for it yet, but essentially, you head into practice mode, go to the start of the section you want to practice, place a checkpoint, head in settings and turn off auto checkpoints. This allows you to practice level bit by bit, making sure to learn the click pattern and overall feeling for the level. I suggest you do this for parts you're struggling with for now, and practice them until you get fairly consistent with them. If you're struggling too much with electrodynamics, you can always take a break and do some of the other RobTop levels, like Geometrical Dominator, Finger Dash, and if you want to learn the 2.2 mechanics, Dash. Now I do suggest beating Geometrical Dominator, Whether it be after electrodynamics or before, it is a good level to get a first-hand experience with memory sections. So you've made it, your first demon. Less than 10% of players who ever pick up the game have made it to where you are. And just being close to beating a demon shows your dedication to this wonderful game. Now other guides will tell you to start with Demon Park or the Nightmare, as they are easy demons. These are free. You aren't going to learn anything from these levels except feeling good for yourself. Now, you can always beat these if you would like. However, a more challenging demon that is away from the RobTop demons would be something like I Spy with My Little Eye, or Absolute Garbage by Blee. Now these levels feature intense decoration which can make the level look much harder than they actually are. If you want to focus on the RobTop demons, I suggest doing Theory of Everything 2 first, as it is, in my opinion, the easiest out of the three. After Theory of Everything 2, I suggest moving to Clubstep, as it was the first RobTop demon after all, and it's one of the toughest challenges. However, it is still very manageable and really reinforces the mechanics of the game, especially the tough ship sections and ball sections. Now the learning curve for these demons can be made easier by using a variety of different techniques. The first I would like to suggest is downloading Geode. Now Geode is a modding software that is malware free and allows you to download a variety of different mods to alter your game. The main required one is going to be the Quality of Life mod. Now this is essentially a budget mega hack and is in my opinion more user friendly. My personal favourite settings to turn on are hitboxes after death, FPS counter, as well as the speed changes to learn click patterns and sometimes just to learn where the hell you're going. Now, the practice mode technique I outlined earlier is still a useful skill in these beginner demons. However, if you feel it is necessary, you can always make a copy of the level and use start positions. Here is a quick tutorial on how to do that using the Geode mod. Now, after beating Clubstep, Theory of Everything 2 and I Spy, as well as Absolute Garbage, I suggest you beat Deadlocked. Now I know I struggle with Deadlocked. I mean, look at this, I have like 5,000 attempts or something on it. However, after beating these prior demons, I'm sure Deadlock will be a cakewalk for you guys. Although it may be a cakewalk for some of you, the beginning wave section in Deadlocked is difficult. Really difficult. Especially on 60 FPS. I suggest that if you're trying to beat this level, if you have a monitor above 60Hz refresh rate, trying to increase your FPS, even to 120 can make a massive difference. To do this, go into your drum dash settings and uncap the FPS. I also suggest you turn off VSync. Now what I used to suffer, and still suffer, albeit in smaller amounts, is screen tearing. Now the way I found to reduce this is by going to the Steam Properties tab and setting it to full screen. This helped reduce screen tearing for me. Now, if this doesn't work for you, try playing around with settings. Now what you don't want is jumping frames. You want your frames to remain consistent with maybe a 2 FPS deviation from time to time. Now thank you all for listening to my guide about your first steps to Geometry Dash. Now some of you older and more experienced players may not agree with my guide. I would just like to outline again that this is my opinion and this is how I progress through the game. Thank you for all the support on my last video, guys. Now I know my upload schedule has been cooked recently, but I'll be trying to remain consistent from now on. Tell me, do you guys like the Geometry Dash content, Minecraft, Terraria, or maybe Roblox content the most? In fact, I'll put a poll out for you guys on my channel so you can all vote there. or just leave a suggestion in the comments, as I will always read them.